fungal uh, phyla into a kingdom, actually, because based on the mode of different varied mode of nutrition and the characteristic cell wall structure is very different from all the other kingdom living organisms. So that is why it was raised to a kingdom mycota. So under this, we will be seeing the general characters of fungi. We'll be talking about fundamental structure, cell structure of fungus, occurrence and growth conditions, mode of nutrition, modifications seen in the vegetative structures, and then we'll be going for reproduction and general life cycle. Economic importance, actually you have to submit it as an assignment. Okay, so we'll be dealing with the fungal general characteristics. So as I already referred, it is a Greek word meaning mushroom, and they are chiefly eukaryotic organisms. Eukaryotic organisms means they possess a definite nucleus which is surrounded by a double membranous nuclear membrane, and it has all the cellular organelles which is present in the eukaryotic organisms like Golgi bodies, mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, vacuoles. So, and it is covered with a rigid cell wall, which is totally different from the plant-based cell wall. It is made of chitin and complex carbohydrates, a mixture of carbohydrates and chitin. So it is slightly different from the other organisms. So it is referred to as eukaryotic protista because it is achlorophyllous. It does not have chlorophyll. So that is why it is referred to as eukaryotic protista. But it is, some of the fungi have characteristics of the bacteria, some of the fungi have characteristic of protista. So fungi have diverse characters. So from the thallus structure, thallus structure itself is very, very diverse. It's very different. You have unicellular thallus, you have naked thallus, you have multicellular thallus, you have microscopic thalli, you have macroscopic thallus. So thallus vegetative structure, body structure itself is very, very different in fungi. And others are the same characters as eukaryotic cell. So you have a proper cell wall, which is made of chitin, and then you have the membrane. Next to the cell wall is the membrane. Here also fungi differ from plants because previously fungi was kept under plants. But then due to these characters only, fungi was raised to a separate kingdom called mycota. Okay, so cytoplasmic membrane in fungus has ergosterols. Just like we have, animals have cholesterol in the cytoplasmic membrane, the fungi possess ergosterols. And they have true nuclei as it is a eukaryotic and have paired chromosomes. And cytoplasmic contents will have all the cellular organelles, and they show both asexual as well as sexual reproduction. They are chiefly unicellular. You can see unicellular fungi as well as multicellular fungi. And they are mostly heterotrophic fungi. Heterotrophic, na, they depend on other organic matter for food. Okay, so since they are achlorophyllous, they are devoid of chlorophyll, they cannot prepare their own food. So fungi as a whole is heterotrophic. You say they have, they show a heterotrophic mode of nutrition, that is, they depend on other organic matter for food. So it can be a dead organic matter or it can be a living organism. So if the fungus feeds on dead organic matter, they are called saprophyte. Okay, when they depend on living organisms, they are called parasites. So they can live outside the host or they can live inside the host. So outside the host, it is called ectotrophic. Inside the host, it is called endotrophic. So all these are terminologies which will give you the meaning where it lives. So endotrophic fungi, abdina endo nale inside, trophic na food. So fungus which grows inside the organism and gathers food, it is called endotrophic fungus. Ectotrophic fungus, ecto means outside, trophic means food. Fungus attaches itself to another living organism and collects the food from inside. So it doesn't live inside, it lives outside the host. So ectotrophic fungi. You have endotrophic, ectotrophic, symbiotic. That means fungi live along with another living organism. They mutually benefit each other. Okay, and they form a unique living organism, as in you can see in lichens. In lichens, you know what are lichens, no? In the rainy days, you can see lichens growing on the trees. தமிழ்ல என்ன சொல்லுவாங்கன்னு தெரியல எனக்கு. Uh, you have lichens. Lichens are an example of symbiotic growth of fungi as well as algae. Okay, so there you see the varied mode of nutrition of fungi, how they are able to gather their nutrition. So chiefly they are heterotrophs. They can be saprophytes or they can be parasites. Okay, and you have few other mode of nutrition also. And most fungi are obligate or facultative aerobes. So all fungi are aerobic organisms. That means they definitely require oxygen for their respiratory metabolism. So they are either obligate aerobes or facultative aerobes. Obligate aerobes means they definitely depend on oxygen. Without oxygen, they cannot survive. But facultative aerobes, they can, some forms of fungi, some structures of fungi can survive even without oxygen. During some phase of their life cycle, they can survive without oxygen. So that's why you say they are obligate or facultative aerobes. So when you talk about the cell wall, it is made of chitin. In bacteria, it is made of peptidoglycan, but in fungi, it is made of chitin. And that is why fungi are insensitive to antibiotics. Antibiotics are chiefly, they kill the bacteria. But if you give antibiotic for fungal infections, it will not work because the fungal cell wall is made of chitin. So what is chitin? Chitin is a polysaccharide composed of long chain of N-acetyl glucosamine. Okay. And then cell membrane, I have already told you, ergosterol is the site of action of antifungal drugs. So antifungal drugs, amphotericin B, azole group drugs. Okay, all these drugs which are given to human beings when they are infected by fungi, they attack the ergosterol which is found in the fungal cell membrane. So this is a small introduction. And then you have a few slides which will give you the general characters in very simplified form. So they are typically, fungi are typically non-motile. So you can never see any moving fungi. Okay, they are typically non-motile, and they have what to say, vegetative body of the fungi may be unicellular or filamentous. Okay, and then the hyphae grow, singular hyphae grow and form a network called mycelium. Okay, so you have fungi which are unicellular, they are called yeast, and which are multicellular, they are called molds. So yeasts and molds, we will say. Okay, yeasts are unicellular fungi, molds are multicellular filamentous fungi. So otherwise, generally, if you say, they reproduce by means of spore production. Okay, they release spores, and the spores, when they fall on a suitable substratum, they germinate to give rise to a new hypha. The spores can be produced asexually or sexually. Asexually means without the fusion of gametes, somatic reproduction. You can call it somatic reproduction. Asexual reproduction, that is, the vegetative body itself forms the spores, produces the spores, and each spore can give rise to a new hyphae. So it will be similar to the vegetative thallus. Sexual spores are result of fusion followed by meiosis, followed by meiotic division, that is reduction division, where the haploid cycle, haploid part of the life cycle is seen. This you have studied in your previous classes also. when you were dealing with algae and other in UG also you would have seen all these living organisms. You would have dealt with the sexual and asexual part of their life cycle. So fungi also produce sexual and asexual spores. Sexual spores are haploid, asexual spores are diploid. So you have different names for that. So when I'm dealing with reproduction, I will deal with it in more detail. So this is just a simplified point-wise what I'm going to tell now as general characters. So I have already mentioned they are heterotrophic organisms. They obtain the food and energy from organic substances, any organic matter, plant-based or animal-based or any detritus, na, dead and decayed matter. So fungi are very important decomposers. You would have studied in ecology primary producers, consumers, and decomposers. So decomposers are the most important part of the ecosystem. Without the decomposers, there is no biogeochemical cycling of minerals and total collapse of the ecosystem will result if there are no decomposers. So fungi form a major part of the decomposers because they're very efficient decomposers because they have a bigger cellular mass. Their cells are bigger in size when compared to bacteria. Bacteria are also good decomposers, but fungi are better. They are more efficient because their cellular mass is very large. So they decompose more. The rate of decomposition is also more. That is why we say fungi are efficient decomposers. So they play a very major role in stabilization of the ecosystem. And that is how they have this phagotropic or absorptive type of mode of nutrition. Absorptive abdina, they release the enzyme, and then the food is broken down outside the cell, and then the fungi digest the food. Okay, so that is why they say they digest the food first and then ingest the food. Okay, so fungal digestive enzymes are excreted out, and whatever organic matter is there surrounding the fungus, they are digested, they are broken down, and then they are absorbed by the fungal cell. So it is called absorptive mode of nutrition. So some fungi also show phagotrophic mode of nutrition, that is engulfment of the food. Where you would have seen it in amoeba, in protozoa. The um, mode of nutrition in protozoa is phagotrophic, that is they engulf the food particle and then digest it. So fungus, they show absorptive mode of nutrition. So they produce a lot of exoenzymes. Exoenzymes, na, which are released outside. Exoenzymes are ones which are released outside. The hydrolases, lyases, oxidoreductases. Okay, and they can store their food in any kind of carbohydrate form. So glycogen or oil droplets or starch. So they can store it in any form of nutrient. And they have so that's why I was mentioning about the nutrition. They are saprophytes. When they get energy from dead and decaying matters, they can live as parasites. Okay, they live inside the host. Either they kill the host or they allow the host to live, so that only when the host lives, the fungus can also live. Only till the host is alive, the fungus can also be alive. So you have two types of parasites. One is biotrophic parasite, one is necrotrophic parasite. Necro means killing, bio means living. Okay, so biotrophic abdina, these parasites, they live inside a host. They can live only inside a host, but they allow the host to live a longer. They allow the host to live long. They don't kill the host, so that the fungus can also live. There's a harmonious relationship between the fungus and the host. A biotrophic association, we call it. Otherwise, you can have necrotrophic association. Necro means to kill. So once the fungus enters the host, it kills the host, and then it moves to the other host. So many of the plant pathogens are necrotrophic fungus, which they will kill the plant and then move on to the next plant. So they are called necrotrophic fungi. So depending on the mode of nutrition, you have different types of fungi, where in parasites you have biotrophic parasites and necrotrophic parasites. Otherwise, you can see fungi also as symbionts, which where they mutually benefit each other. It has a symbiotic relationship with a totally different kind of living organisms. See, fungi and algae are totally different. They live together, they mutually benefit each other, and they result in a totally unique life form, which is called the lichens. Okay, and the fungi grow in varied ranges of temperatures. They can grow in room temperature, they can grow in cold temperature, as well as slightly warm temperature. But the best temperature for growth is 20 to 30 degrees. So mesophilic range, so we call it mesophilic range. Parasitic fungi, they live in the range of 30 to 37, be it in human parasite or animal parasite. Okay, so human parasite and animal parasite, the fungi has to maintain, I mean, has to grow in the human temperature, animal temperature, warm blooded temperature. So they prefer 30 to 37 degrees. For most saprophytic fungi, it is 20 to 30 degrees. And they prefer acidic pH. pH is another important condition for growth, the negative logarithm of hydrogen ions. You have acidic pH, alkaline pH, and neutral pH. Fungi prefer slightly acidic, that is 5.6 to, I mean, 6. Okay, so not very acidic, 5.6, 5.8 to 6.5. So that range is there. So slight acidic pH fungi grow very well, actually. And I've told you about the reproduction. The sexual stage of the fungal life cycle is referred to as teleomorph. Teleomorph. And the asexual state is referred to as anamorph. It is referred to as anamorph. These are all terminologies which will keep coming in the classes, so you should not be blank. So all these terminologies, I'm just introducing it to you. We have not yet got into the class as such. So these are some terminologies which you must remember. So vegetative reproduction is by fragmentation. When a hypha gets cut, the cut fragment can give rise to a new hypha. So fragmentation, binary fission, this is common. Binary fission is common in unicellular fungi. Fungi which are just one cell, like yeast. Okay, budding. Budding is very common in yeast. So these are vegetative reproduction. Asexual reproduction is by production of spores, conidia, chlamydospore, arthospores. So spore formation. And sexual reproduction, you have many types of sexual reproduction. This I will deal with it in much detail when I'm talking about the sexual reproduction. So normally, pheromone is a chemical substance which is produced by fungi, which leads to sexual reproduction between male and female fungal cells. So this is a very unique feature found in fungi. In microscopic organisms, you can find it in the fungal. It is called a hormone. It is called a pheromone, which is it plays an important role in sexual reproduction between the male and female fungal cells. So this is actually, you have harmful fungi also. This which causes infection to human beings. Most of the fungi are harmless. They are saprophytes which live on dead matter. Some of them are harmful fungi. They live as parasites inside the humans, and they cause various types of diseases. And you all know there are many fungi which live, I mean, which cause diseases in plants also. Okay, so there are plant pathogenic fungi are there, animal pathogenic fungi are there. Okay, those which produce infections in humans, you have few fungi, mainly Candida albicans, Aspergillus species, all these histoplasma. Okay, the ones which form um, dandruff, you know, you have dandruff in your hairs, very common. This is actually a fungal infection. Okay, and then infection in the nail, you can see. So all these are fungal infections. So when you talk about, you would have got an overall view of the fungus. So if you want to define a fungus, it is a chlorophyllous eukaryotic organism which has a few unique characteristics like chitinous cell wall, ergosterol in the cell membrane, and having a varied mode of nutrition. It can lead a saprophytic life, it can lead a parasitic life, okay, and it reproduces asexually, sexually, as well as vegetatively. So you can add as many points in your definition as you can. Okay, when you talk about occurrence, where do you find the fungus? It is found everywhere. It is ubiquitous. You can see it in air in the form of fungal spores. That is why during rainy season, the air inside a room will be very damp and you can actually smell the fungus. Okay, so you can find fungi in water, though in very, very low numbers. Your waterborne fungi are very, very low in number. Soil, definitely it will be highest number of fungi are found only in the soil. You can find fungi on the plants, on the animals, on the insects, everywhere. Wherever you have wherever the environmental condition is favorable for the fungal growth, you can find fungi. Okay, and they normally prefer humid places where moisture is there. Okay, so whenever there is a dampness seen, you can see fungal growth. Okay, well, so whenever you ஈரப்பதம் இருக்கிற இடத்துல எல்லாம் you can see fungal growth. So they prefer to grow in warm and humid places. So when you talk about the thallus means body, the body of the fungus. Okay, that we will be going in detail in a few minutes. Okay, so this slide shows about the nutrition of the fungus. Nutrition meaning how it has the food. Okay, food for the fungus. Nutrition. So you can see heterotrophic nutrition. Hetero means other. Hetero means other, different. Okay, hetero means some other, different. Okay, trophic means food. So heterotrophic means fungus depends on some other different organism, organic matter. So heterotrophs. Absorption na urinchukardu. So it has an absorptive mode of nutrition. So it absorbs the nutrients through the cell wall. Okay, so how is it showing absorptive mode of nutrition? It produces enzymes, it excretes the digestive enzymes, it throws the enzymes out of the cell, and the enzymes will digest the food material which is found outside the fungal cell, and the fungus will absorb the food, absorb the nutrients. That is what is called absorptive mode of nutrition. So this is seen in fungi. Otherwise, you have saprophytic organisms, saprobes. We call them saprobes. Saprobes meaning dead and decayed matter. Okay, you have pathogens. Pathogens meaning causing disease. Pathos, na pain. Pathogen means causing disease. You can see symbiotic organisms. I have already told you what is a symbiont. Okay, parasites, commensals. Commensals meaning it will not do any harm or it will not be do any benefit. It will be just there. You have many fungi which do not show any kind of interaction. So they will be just there. Okay, commensals. So fungi nutrition is very important because in the mode of nutrition, they actually recycle chemicals in the ecosystem. So the mode of nutrition in fungi is very important for the ecosystem because only through this kind of nutrition, the ecosystem is stabilized. So you have studied about biogeochemical cycle, carbon cycle, sulfur cycle, phosphorus cycle, potassium cycle, nitrogen cycle. These are all important biogeochemical cycling which is happening in the ecosystem, okay, which is for which fungus plays a major role. So that is why role of fungi play in the immediate environment is governed by the extracellular enzymes they can produce. So fungal basic mode of nutrition is heterotrophic because they cannot prepare their own food. They depend on other different living organisms or dead organisms for food. So saprophyte parasite. Saprophytes means relying on dead and decayed organic matter. Parasites, they completely depend on living organism for their food. Okay. So this is the chart where you can see the nutrition, two nutrition on for fungal nutrition, saprophytes and parasites. Under saprophytes, you have ectotrophic. Ectotrophic means ecto na out. Trophic na mode of nutrition. Trophic nale food. So fungi, they live outside the host. Okay, they grow on the surface of dead organic matter. So ectotrophic saprophytes, they grow on the surface of dead and dead organic matter. Endotrophic saprophytes are also there, which grow inside the dead organic matter. They madri parasites, you have obligate parasite, facultative parasites, obligate parasites and facultative parasites. So these obligate parasites live only as inside the living host. They cannot live outside the living host. They can live only inside the living host. That's why it's called obligate. Okay. Facultative, na, they can live inside, they can live outside also. இப்படியும் இருக்கலாம் அப்படியும் இருக்கலாம். So you have some examples also given here. Okay. So you have to rejoin, girls. Please rejoin.